Hi, I'm David Allen.
And I'm Nathan Foston, and we're
The Fixers. For years, Hollywood has come to us to fix their broken movies before you even saw them.
If it wasn't for us, Shrek would have been orange.
But recently, after some unfortunate tweets,
which we've already apologized for,
Hollywood gave us
the boot. So we started this podcast. So join us, because with our help, we'll prove that any movie is capable of making
$1 billion.
If you don't like it, so sue me. But gosh darn it, we fixed your movie.
The movie, La La Land, 2016, starring Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, written and directed by Dale Chazelle. Fix number 1, change the name. Damien is far too demonic. My suggestion, Dale Chazelle. Synopsis. Sebastian, played by Ryan Gosling, and Maya? We'll talk about it in the fixes. Played by Emma Stone, are drawn together by their common desire to do what they love. But as success mounts, they are forced with decisions that begin to fray the fragile fabric of their love affair, and the dreams they worked so hard to maintain in each other threaten to rip them apart.
Oof.
Part 1. Yeah. Part 1.
The kid stays in the picture.
What worked? Okay, Nathan, we're going to go back and forth, and we're going to talk about what we think worked.
Sure.
Before we start even going into the fix, because, you know, each movie, we're trying to be fair. We're tough but fair.
Yeah, we're tough but fair. I guess I'll start. Magnetic leads. I mean, you got Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
You got Emma Stone. These are two A-plus superstars.
Absolutely.
You've got...
And they've made money before.
And they've made money before. And lost money, but they've made money. And I got to say, too, one of the things that I really liked, and we'll get into this more, this is kind of a plus for the movie, and also something I think maybe not fix, but tweak.
Yeah.
John Legend is in this movie. He's a megastar. Hyper wattage.
Yes.
I loved that about this movie. I really did.
Now, I don't know if she was super mega viral at the time, but his wife, Chrissy Teigen...
I have it in my notes, David.
...is a fan
Let's
favorite.
Let's tease it out.
And I think maybe she should have been more involved in this, but, well, we're talking about what we liked at the moment.
Let's stick with what we like, but that's a good way to tease it out. Don't turn this podcast off, because we'll be talking about Chrissy Teigen.
For me... One thing I liked was that they showed the ideal Los Angeles that people really want to see, i.e. there's no itinerant people sleeping on the streets. There's just enough cultural diversity, like not too much.
Right, yeah.
So like I thought that was really nice. It was like the kind of LA that people really want to see, you know?
Yeah. And that, David, I hate to keep teasing it out, but that also kind of factors into our notes here. Some of the fixes, I think maybe the beginning of the movie is not as kind to L.A. as the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Which I, again, liked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I got to say, my next like, I guess, would be that it had four-quadrant appeal. You know, young people liked it. Old people love musicals.
Yes.
Men love Ryan Gosling and the angry way which he delivers all of his lines.
Yeah.
Because men look at Ryan Gosling in this movie, and yeah, he might be singing songs,
but he's angry
But they
about
see,
it.
Yeah, exactly. He's pissed, and men look at it and they see Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
They see Drive. They see God Smashes All or whatever.
Yeah.
All the Winding Refn movies.
Yeah.
They see the hyper machismo.
Because that's a risk that you always have when a man does something with emotion, sings a song. Most guys just want to stand up and leave.
Right. But then they also have... This movie works, in the way that it is very... You got... Again, megastar wattage with Ryan Gosling. And, Emma Stone, she plays everything. I mean, men like to look at her. Men want to be with her.
Yeah.
This is a woman that can play...
All men.
Yeah, this is a woman that can play anything. She can go from Girl Next Door, Mary Jane Watson in Spider-Man movies, to Cruella de Vil in Disney movies, to Asian woman in Aloha.
Yeah.
I mean, the woman
she can play anything.
She has incredible range.
Scarlett Johansson range.
Yeah, exactly.
She could play a tree.
I am Groot, that's... That's, little do we know. But, so that's my other... big takeaway is the pieces are there. Like sometimes when we go into these pitch meetings or not even pitch meetings, generally we come in at the end.
Yeah.
Came in at the end.
Yes.
And when we're trying to chop it up and make a film just feel a little better to your average person, there's not as many pieces to work with as there are in La La Land.
I have a couple more.
Let's
positives.
keep going back and forth.
To stay on positive. So for me, I thought it was super cool that Ryan Gosling plays a character that loves jazz as it was long ago and is super uncomfortable with updating it anyway, because a lot of market research confirms that many Americans are afraid of change. So I found that character trait specifically very appealing.
Sure.
And even specifically the scene where Ryan Gosling loudly talks over a live jazz band about how much it annoys him when people talk over jazz. I thought that was like a really cool,
It's a winking,
scene.
knowing thing for the audience. It makes you, as the audience member, feel better about your inclination to do that.
Yeah.
To say, hey, I want another drink, maybe. Hey, honey, are you feeling cold in here?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And one more thing about his character. I just found it very believable that Ryan Gosling would use Yiddish expressions like mishigash, and that just strikes me, he strikes me as a guy who uses a lot of Yiddish in real life, so I'm glad they incorporated that.
A very worldly guy, and that's one of the things. And actually, it's interesting that this movie lays the pieces down in a way that I feel comfortable that we will easily be able to get this movie to $1 billion.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I think the pieces are in place, and that worldliness, it only leads to more. You know what I'm saying? Like, mishigash, sure. Well, why not konnichiwa?
Yeah,
and maybe
that is thinking, yeah.
Right. Give it a little bit of extra international appeal. We've already started.
And then he could have said konnichiwa, and then she could have said aloha.
Right. Oh, that's right, because she's Asian.
Yeah.
Pacific Islander. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And one more thing I just want to add. I don't have a whole... In fact, this is my last one for the what worked, but I just really appreciated how sort of flat the characters were, because audiences, I find, can get lost if you add too many details. So just keeping it really simple, really two-dimensional, really works, because if you start getting too in-depth, people, they lose it.
Right.
They don't know what's going on anymore.
Well, this movie is circular. It's a hat on a hat on a hat. You're talking about a movie about old-timey jazz, right, that is playing tribute to classic film. The movie itself is almost two-dimensional, David, and that's what I like about it. It's very easy for the audience to follow the story, because they can reflect anything they want in themselves, even Pan-Asian, in these actors.
Yeah.
And then you can also just reflect movies you've already seen onto the movie. So you're looking at this and like, oh yeah, La La Land, it's good. Like Singing in the Rain, good. And that's a big winner movie, Dave.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, that's one of the all-time greats. And if you're making those...
Hasn't made a bill, but, not a lot of movies did back then.
Not a lot did back then. But you're getting those gears working. You're training the audience to say, hey, that looks good to me. I recognize that, therefore I like it.
I recognize that is a big theme we're going to be hitting in this podcast.
You gotta...
If you don't recognize it, that is a fault.
That's a fault. You gotta...
What I always told these producers in these meetings is, I call it NN, nothing new.
Nothing new. SEO, search engine...
optimization.
Optimization. Yeah. These are the things that we hit over and over again. If Kevin Feige and the Marvel Studios have taught us anything, Easter eggs, recognition, pattern recognition, This is a cell phone generation, folks, coming up at least.
Yeah.
So when you're talking 4-quadrant pictures, you need to be looking at one of these quadrants is a cell phone generation, ADHD generation.
Yeah. Now,
while you still have to get the boomers in there.
It's true. It's true. And some of them use phones too, just not as well.
Absolutely.
Now, here's one more segment. This is one more thing before we go into what we're going to fix, what didn't work. This is called...
Body Heat Index.
How sexy was it? Okay?
Yeah.
Out of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
This is basically, I'm glad that we're using this to lead into what didn't work, because the body heat index on this is a 2, maybe. I have to give them some credit because they're 2 sexy stars.
Yeah.
They got the world's sexiest man.
It's a romance.
Playing a supporting character. There's tons of sex appeal, but they miss out on so many opportunities. One scene comes to mind in particular, David. There's a scene early on in the movie where Emma Watson gets taken to a party, right?
I have this written in my notes.
It's a perfect opportunity. It's a sexy Hollywood Hills party, David.
There's
this
a
is
pool.
why we work together. It's a pool. We both know what we're about to say next. Let's lose a few shirts. Let's get a little cheesecake, a little beefcake.
Yeah, that was okay. Number one, Ryan Gosling has a six-pack. We don't see him in a bathing suit.
Nope, not at all.
Emma Stone, we don't see her in a bathing
Right.
suit. And I was thinking maybe we could take an idea, because again, like I say, and nothing new. A scene that worked in another movie we could have incorporated here, because we have, and just to say, I give this like a 3 on the body heat too.
Yeah.
It's pretty low. And one thing I thought we could incorporate in the movie Harold and Kumar Escape Guantanamo Bay, when they go to a pool, there's a bottomless pool party where no one is wearing bottoms. Why not do that again?
Boom, simple. Yeah. Bring in Huey Lewis, get him to play backing band. Dude, I gotta say, I'm so glad that you were on the same page as me with this, because clearly that was the sequence. A little beefcake, a little cheesecake. Show us some movement here.
Why hire Ryan Gosling if you're not going to show the
Yes,
beefcake?
show off his guns. Show the six-pack. Emma Stone, I've seen her in a bathing suit, I believe, in other movies.
You can push it. You can push it surprisingly far and keep PG-13. He could have done like a D'Angelo cut and see just everything besides the junk.
Yeah, David, there's a lot of creative ways to show some skin. Show a few feet shots, maybe. Emma Stone's just putting on her shoes.
Yeah.
You know, Tarantino's really good at this. Quentin
Yes.
Tarantino's a master of working in these type of I like to call them extra sensory. I like to call them extra sexual. Okay? There are things that we want to see on screen that doesn't necessarily have to be missionary position, one-to-one sex.
Yes.
That would just propel the movie more. And yeah, that is a perfect scene. And if we don't want to take this to an R rating, then
There's a lot of ways.
how about a lot of white T-shirts?
Yes.
How about everybody, it's a hot LA afternoon, evening, everybody's hanging out by the pool in their white T-shirts, the conga line starts, hips are swaying, a few people get dumped in, everybody jumps in and it's fun, and you just see chest hair, you see a little, nipple through everybody's shirts. I mean, it goes a long way.
Another creative way you can get around the R rating is if it's educational. So you have them naked, but then you're listing the anatomy parts on the screen and letting people know.
In the NN tradition, think about this, David. Similar to a Armageddon, right? When Ben Affleck, famous scene, Ben Affleck's using an animal cracker to teach Liv Tyler how he's going to blow up a comet. Huge scene. Everybody loves it. What if Ryan laying in bed using an animal cracker to teach Emma Watson about the notes that you don't play in jazz?
Yeah.
You see, rounding up her hip, right? With a little animal cracker.
And he's like teaching some, jazz lessons.
Yeah, jazz.
They're both fully nude.
Yeah, exactly. Tasteful.
It's the clothes
tastefully.
that you don't wear.
Yeah, very tastefully, of course.
Yeah, and here's another one of my slogans that I would always say, which is why imply, which means if you're gonna show something, if you're gonna have something, why imply it? So for example, later on in the movie, we see, spoiler alert, Emma Stone has had a child. So you've implied sex has happened.
Right.
So
That's
why
true.
imply?
David, you had me at hello on this one because
It's also confusing because you see the kid, but you haven't seen the conception.
Yeah,
So
right.
you're like, what happened? Did she adopt?
yeah, she must have adopted. That's
That was what I thought.
I assumed
Yeah.
watching it, honestly. And the same thing could say assumptively from the standpoint of the entire, because this is a spring, summer, fall, winter, spring
Yes.
relationship,
Yeah.
right? It takes us through all 4 seasons. David,
And
how
they
many
skip over the sex.
Yeah, how many relationships have you had that have lasted a year where you don't have sexual intercourse?
Most.
Right. But this is fantasy, okay? This is
True.
a movie.
Yeah.
We got to see it. So on that note, I think David and you and I agree, the body heat index, very, very
I think
low.
we're both at 3. So 3 on the body
And
heat
you know
index.
what we say, 5 and above. It has to be 5 and
We
above.
got to hit 5.
You got to
And-
hit 5.
And we've already
and that's
given
in
you
a
a couple.
G-rated movie.
Yes. And we've already given you ways that you can get to at least a 6 and keep it G-rated.
Absolutely.
So now we can finally move on to
The fix is in.
what didn't work for you.
Oh, there's a long list here.
Yeah, I got a list myself.
Well, I guess we can just kind of go back and forth
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
All right. So let's set the stage here.
Yeah.
Movie opens. It's a hot day. Everybody's traffic jam on the 5, the 101, whatever. Like that hilarious Saturday Night Live Californians bit.
Love that.
Maybe make some reference to that
Yeah.
even. I don't know. But everybody starts to get out of their cars. And this is going to be a through line for me, David. I
Yeah.
promise this is not the first time I'm going to bring this up.
Yeah.
But what if everybody gets out of their cars and they're dancing and they're singing a song we don't recognize? I've never heard this song before.
Yeah, yeah.
What if instead they sing a song that we do recognize, like Buffalo Springfield?
Yeah.
You know, stop children, what's that song?
Well, wait.
Everybody gets out and a little stunt casting, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you who got out of their car and started dancing.
Didn't recognize a single
Savion
face.
Glover, you know, bring in.
Oh, what if they all had trash cans in their cars and they all started stomping
yeah,
around
bring
with the
in
trash
somebody
cans?
that we recognize
Yeah.
to get this movie started.
Think about how many people were in the theater, and all of a sudden they sit down, they're ready to see Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone fall in love,
Yeah.
and a bunch of people they've never seen before.
and won't see again.
Yeah, and won't see again, sing a song they've never heard before. At that point, how many people do you think ran out of the theater to
Ask their money back.
Yeah, and asked for their money back?
Hey,
That's
one
money
ticket to
lost.
Moonlight, please.
Yes.
Is what they were saying.
Something I recognize.
Because, yeah, and the same thing goes for, you know, everything about that scene. I love it as the premise.
Yeah.
You're setting us up for the musical. Just bring in a little bit of stunt casting, maybe a recognizable song, you know, maybe the song of summer, like Call Me Maybe or something.
Well, okay, here again, because I say never knew. Just in the past couple of years, they did a musical where they sang songs. It was called Bohemian Rhapsody, and they sang the songs of the
Jukebox
band
musical.
Queen.
Yeah.
Why not sing those songs? Why don't they sing Under Pressure? They're in traffic.
David, that's one of my notes for later on. Jukebox musical, Mamma Mia, big hit.
People love them.
Nearly a bill.
Yeah.
We barely have to do any work on that
Yeah.
one. No, that was a huge issue I had with the beginning, very first second of the movie.
Yeah.
Confusing. And then also you're in Hollywood, you're stuck on the thing. Show some Lamborghinis, some Bugattis, maybe a couple NASCAR, you know, mix it up. NASCAR, Beverly Hillbillies car. You know, show us some of the, you know, famous, you know, the Dragula.
Yeah.
You know, get us going here. Get us excited about the movie.
Dragula would have been a good choice.
So that's my first, you know, my first fix or
Yeah.
my first offering, basically.
Now, I got one for me, and granted, I'm not the brightest bulb in the shed, but I think we need to keep it simple. I know what a musical is, but I do think that a lot of people, you know, musicals aren't the most popular thing anymore. I think it's a little bit abrupt when they go from talking into singing, back into talking, and you don't know what's happening, why are they singing, was that, did everybody else know they were singing?
Right.
Did that actually happen,
Right,
or
what's
was that
the
a
logic?
fantasy?
Yeah.
And I think that you could easily fix that is if just after they're done singing, one of the characters said something along the lines of, hey, that was a good song, or hey, it was fun singing with you. Now we should go back to talking. You know, because otherwise you're like,
No,
wait, why are they now talking when they were
true.
just singing?
And it would have been nice, especially because the movie establishes Ryan Gosling's piano man, entertainer. He
could
could
just
have
say-
just sat down at the piano to start each song.
Yeah, and said, now I'm going to sing a song.
Right, and we could, because I mean, anybody's smart enough to infer that if Ryan Gosling's playing the piano and then they're singing, we can assume that Ryan Gosling played the piano throughout the whole song. You can
Yeah.
get up and dance after you start playing the piano, but
Yeah.
just show us. Again, it's a show me thing. Just show us what you're doing. Yeah, you know, when you started that one, I was curious, but I definitely get it. I definitely see what you're saying. This one, my next one is another just absolute simplicity that they just missed. We're talking about building $1 billion franchise here, David.
Yeah.
Okay. Emma Stone is a struggling actress. And I'll get to that in a second. I don't want to tease that one out. I will get to that in a second. But as a day job to fund her pursuit of acting excellence, she works at a coffee shop.
Yeah. A generic.
Starbucks.
Why?
Yes.
Yes.
What the hell?
You know what? I'm ashamed I didn't even, that one I didn't have in my notes, and I'm ashamed I didn't have it in my notes.
It is so.
That's a genius idea.
It's so clear. Have
Yeah.
her work at a Starbucks. Hey, welcome to Starbucks.
Would you like a venti?
Yeah.
Tied in with a seasonal drink.
Right. Then you have cross promotion from Starbucks on
Yes.
Twitter. You can use Starbucks can use Emma Stone in the advertising for free, basically.
Now, at that point, you'd have to change it a little bit because she didn't like her job and her boss was sort of mean to her. So the boss would have to be nice to her, and she should actually, you could actually even add drama there because she's like, wow, working at Starbucks is a fantastic job.
The pay is great. The vacation time, the flexibility.
Yeah. So when she gets that first role, it's more of a struggle. Do I take this movie role, or do I work at Starbucks where it's fantastic
Where I
work?
love working here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good play, David.
Adds extra drama.
Yeah, no, that actually really stacks. I like that.
Great idea. Let me add, so the whole crux of the story here is that Ryan Gosling is a guy who loves jazz.
I think I know where you're going here.
Why jazz?
Exactly.
Who listens to jazz? These days, it's hip hop. Why can't he be an aspiring hip hop artist? His name's Sebastian. Why not young Seb?
That's perfect. It lines up perfectly. David, it was in my notes too. And I got to say, if you do the hip hop thing, because I wrote down Gosling, when he's talking about his romantic life, he brings up the rope-a-dope. It got my brain, the gears working. What if in the montages, when he's supposed to be playing jazz at a piano, what if he's doing hip hop at halftime of a sports event? If he's at a Lakers game doing hip hop,
Another tie-in.
yeah, another tie-in. Again, that brings.
Well, wait, he could be at because he has to work his way up, he shouldn't maybe be with the Lakers at the beginning. He could be with the Clippers, and he's trying to make it to the Lakers.
Right. And that's actually a fundamental flaw with the movie, the Gosling brand in this movie, basically. His character doesn't want to be famous.
Yeah.
Throw that out right here.
Yeah.
He wants to be famous.
Yeah.
And the hip hop, maybe he's in for the art. Maybe he's more of a conscious hip hopper like Apple D App or something, Black Eyed Peas, but they still played the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, you can go far there. Okay, I love that idea, David. I really do. And really, that actually kind of cures, because I had two words for this movie whenever there was music going on: dub them.
Yes.
Bring in somebody who can actually sing, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
But that actually solves it. I think that's a great idea.
And Ryan Gosling, maybe, I know he can't sing, but having watched this movie, I don't know, maybe he can rap.
He might be able to
Emma
rap.
Stone as well. They might both be fire MCs. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. My next thing, it's another really easy fit, is just that early struggle for Emma Stone. Okay, we don't want to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
Why is she auditioning for these sad sack parts? The movie itself establishes that she works at what we've now cast as a Starbucks on the WB lot. What if she's already successful? What if she's, and this is good for synergy, brings in the younger crowd. What if she's on the WB lot? What if she's already playing Catwoman, say, or Wonder Woman or something? WB, they own the DC Comics franchises. Have her be playing a part, okay? And that way, it kind of brings me to this other idea, too, because at the beginning of the movie, before she's successful, she has a lot of roommates, okay? Think about this, David. What if her roommates were the Dixie Chicks? What if her roommates
there I might have to pause you, because the Dixie Chicks, they are popular. They're very controversial, opposing the Iraq War, maybe a little bit too political. What if it was Taylor Swift? She's never said any statement about anything.
Let me throw one at you. What if it is a reunited Destiny's Child?
Oh, damn.
Think about that.
Yeah, people love Beyonce, but they love the other ones even more.
Yeah, exactly. So and then people are saying, oh, yeah, there's this movie. They got Destiny's Child back together.
Yeah.
We got to see it.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the movie is.
Yeah, and then since you got them there, maybe they could overdub for like Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
That's a great idea. So, okay, I have an idea that sort of springboards off what you were just saying and it's, again, I know I get maybe a little bit confused with movies, but I think everybody does. I had an issue where they were filming a lot on backlots, and there was a lot of movies within movies, and auditions for movies within movies.
Right.
And I would say traditionally, those don't do very well. People don't want to see how the sausage is made. And B, it's just confusing, okay? Right. When you're watching a movie and then all of a sudden you see a camera in the frame of someone filming something else within that movie,
right?
you're getting way too heady.
It looks
for
like a
people.
mistake.
Yeah, you think people are watching this thinking, wait, did they accidentally capture another one of the cameraman? Did the director and sound guy accidentally walk into frame?
Right.
Is this an error? So yeah, that's something they really should think about getting rid of because it throws people off. In my
I see
opinion.
what you're saying. I see what you're saying because maybe there's like some artistic notion there, David. So I think we could actually marry those two ideas.
Yeah.
Where if they're going to be making a movie within the movie, maybe if it's a recognizable, maybe if she's in Transformers,
Yeah, that's
if she's
easier to-
acting in Transformers, then you get Michael Bay on screen going,
Yeah.
as a
maybe
a cameo.
and maybe for me, the way I would like it, Michael Bay comes on and he says, "Hi, I'm movie director Michael Bay, and I'm filming a movie. I know this is a movie, but
Yeah.
I'm filming another movie right now."
Yeah, let me say-
people get lost. Okay.
Yeah, he says, quiet on the set for everybody who's not acting in this movie. Okay, action Mia.
Meaning La La Land.
And that's a problem right there. La La Land, too hard to say.
Yeah.
Alliterative, too hard
Why
to say.
not La Land?
That's what I was thinking. Or L.A. Land.
Yeah. Bam.
Just a real quick one. While we're simplifying things, David, it's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Trim 20 minutes off, more show times.
Yeah.
People have a better feeling about an hour 40 movie. Then they can leave at an hour 30
Yeah.
because the credits are on.
That's what I always say. Start the credits early.
Start the credits early. But check this. Actually, I'm just riffing now.
Yeah.
These are not in my notes.
Okay.
We talked earlier about you have John Legend. Why not bring in Chrissy Teigen, right?
Yes.
Because you want people to stick around. You want people to see the credits through. You want
Yeah.
them to, to make an impression. You can, you want them to buy the soundtrack basically at the end. So what if you get outtakes running through the credits, or even Chrissy Teigen's famous for making,
Snark factor.
snark factor, and she has a lot of cookbooks.
Yeah.
What if she's preparing a recipe?
This
you
is
know-
a great idea. Oh, and think about this. She was probably on set every day anyway, supporting her husband.
Certainly.
So why don't you just have her throw in, like, you could maybe even show one of her tweets on screen every so often, or she could comment on the movie, like when something strange happens, she could say, "What the frick?"
Yeah, absolutely. I love this. She has the third most Twitter followers.
Yeah.
To not use her is
Big
atrocious.
mistake.
I mean, it is throwing money in the garbage.
Yes. Now, okay, since you brought up John Legend, that brings me to my John Legend point. The stakes were too low.
Yeah.
The closest this movie even has to a villain is John Legend, and all that he does wrong is make jazz that a lot of people want to listen to
Right.
and have concerts that a lot of people want to go to. So, what if John Legend went a little bit further, say kidnapped Emma Stone, and then Gosling had to track him down and beat up his henchmen to get her back?
I love where your head is at.
Because we know Gosling can fight.
Right. We've seen him fight. And actually, this
We
would
didn't see him kick any ass in this.
we could get rid of one of the more boring parts of the movie when she goes back to Iowa or whatever.
Yeah, no, she gets kidnapped.
She gets
by
kidnapped
Legend.
by John Legend.
Yeah.
Right. And that actually propels the action. David, when you started that, I was thinking, you're right. Like, let's make this success a little more fun. Maybe show some sex, drugs, and rock and roll. This turns the movie on
great
its
idea.
head.
No, great, because it can get out of hand. He becomes so successful that he gets in debt from
Right.
doing all this drugs, and he has to get some money, so he kidnaps her.
Right. And that
holds her ransom.
That montage, David, I love this idea because that montage not only brings up the body heat index for sure,
Yeah.
as he's trying all these things and doing all this rock star stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure he's doing lines of cocaine off of women's butts.
Yeah, and bring in Chrissy Teigen. He might be someone who only does stuff with his wife on screen.
Right, a Kirk Cameron type.
Yeah,
certainly.
so he could maybe do cocaine off Chrissy Teigen's butt or something.
Yeah, huge star wattage. And, David, this gives the opportunity for us to bring in one of John Legend's big hits.
Yeah.
For the montage. So you bring in, because that when they played what was supposed to be his, sellout jazz song that no one liked, I'm thinking, you got John Legend. He's a megastar.
Yeah.
If he's not covering somebody, basically you have two options. Play one of his big hits or have him cover one of the few stars who are even bigger, you know?
Yeah.
You know, he would have to cover Purple Rain or something
Yeah, yeah.
if he's not going to play his top song.
Yeah.
So have that top song play while we're watching all the sex, drugs, and violence.
Yes.
Mind blown, David. Yeah, let me throw one more in here because I did think everybody loves nostalgia. Everybody wants to see stuff they already know.
Yeah.
My argument with this movie, just generally, is the idea that they were showing us the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
You're showing us, when they go to the Griffith Observatory, it is basically a silent movie.
Yeah.
They just dance around. No one's talking. No one's singing. Nothing is happening, right? The Griffith Observatory, beautiful building. They don't even reference Rebel. They don't say, Rebel Without a Cause, huge movie, was filmed here. They don't say that. So what I'm thinking, and this is another opportunity for brand synergy, is skip that whole sequence, have your romantic walkabout at Universal City Walk.
Fantastic idea.
In the back, you got bubblegum shrimp in the background. You've got stores. You've got guys dressed up like the Minions.
That solves two problems. Okay, so the reason the whole Griffith Park segment is set up by they go to a movie theater and they watch Rebel Without a Cause, a movie nobody's ever heard of.
Right.
It's probably black and white or something.
Right.
And then because Griffith Park is in it, they come up with the idea that they need to go to Griffith Park. Why don't they go to the movies and watch Back to the Future or Harry Potter or the Simpsons movie?
Right.
And then they can go to Universal City Walk.
Right.
And then get a butterbeer, which then you and the audience can actually go do.
Right. And Universal City Walk hits, you know, the movie's La La Land. We're supposed to be looking at all over the city of L.A.
Yeah.
Universal City Walk has it all. Pink's Hot Dogs, they have a location in the City Walk. The stuff people are looking for is already there. So just do it there.
Yeah. So I don't want to go too far into how we can make more money because we have a whole segment called Number Crunch where we're just going to go back and forth on ideas on how to raise more money. So that's a genius idea, but I don't want to go too in depth on how we can hit that bill yet. Okay. I want to move this is a small segment we have called.
Wait, I think we missed the biggest one.
Yeah. What's the biggest one?
Why aren't they married at the end?
Oh, that is a big mistake.
What
that is
the
a
heck is
huge
going
mistake.
on?
Yeah, okay, spoiler, sad ending. When has anybody ever liked a sad ending?
It doesn't make any sense. Then they do this little retrofit where
I
they
hated that.
imagine what their lives would be like together, and then they just
So it's easy. You have the fantasy scene, chop off the whole reality.
it ends right there.
Yeah.
Plus, it makes it 10 minutes shorter.
Yeah.
Just end it when they get married at the end.
Yeah.
When they have a kid.
Yeah.
People
and show them having the kid.
Right, exactly. Show
conception.
And so they show the conception. Boom, brings the sexiness factor up.
Yep.
And spin-offs, kids, young Sheldon,
Oh yeah,
that type of thing.
Yeah, and you show that like even as like toddlers they can play jazz and sing and dance and stuff.
Yeah, jazz it babies.
And then you jazz babies, and then they can have their own shows, cartoons.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, we'll get into we'll get
We're gonna
into
hit the
hands
number
off.
crunch.
Yeah.
Before we go to number crunch, I just want to try a segment called
Hold Fast or Recast.
Okay, we were actually happy with this cast. We like John Legend.
Yeah.
We like
The big
Ryan
three
Gosling,
are good.
We like Emma Stone. But if we had to recast, is there anybody you might have gone for? My only real notes here were, number one, I like Ryan Gosling. In fact, I don't even really want to recast him, but why can't he be wearing the scorpion jacket from Drive?
That's a good question.
That he should be wearing because it's cool. And again, we can sell it, make some merch.
Yeah.
Number two, Emma Stone, good actress, can play any race, good girl next door appeal. But maybe to bring up that body heat index, why not Megan Fox?
That's a good question. I mean, it's a good question to ask, David. I mean, I think too, if we want to do somebody who's pan worldly, or pan race,
Yeah.
why not go for the biggest? I mean, get Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Like, why settle for Emma Stone when you can get Scarlett Johansson?
Yeah, yeah.
For Gosling, I think we're both pretty. I would just recast the voice.
Yeah.
I would have Eminem do the raps if we were doing the rap.
Great
Going
idea.
going the rap route. And if we're not going the rap,
Or Fred Durst, maybe.
or Fred Durst, yeah. If we're not going depending on musical
But then
genre,
you have to have him do the dialogue, too. Or maybe like Fred Durst does dialogue, Eminem does raps.
Could, yeah, we could. I'm thinking just dub. I just like the way Ryan Gosling's mug looks on camera.
Yeah.
So I say we just dub over. So depending on the musical genre we want to roll with.
Yeah.
If we're going rap, we do Eminem.
Yeah.
If we're going, rock music, we get, Jimmy Page or something.
Yeah. His guitar. We just have his guitar notes coming out of his mouth.
guitar. We just get some of the bigger celebs.
Yeah.
We get Queen guy. Everybody loved the Queen movie.
No,
you were brought up.
I agree. Yeah, Rami Malek maybe should have done it.
Rami Malek.
Someone who can sing like that.
And the untouchable here is John Legend. I don't even want to entertain who you get rid of. I say,
because Chrissy Teigen, getting her involved is such a big part of this, and if we lose Legend, we lose our whole Teigen connection.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. The only thing that I would say, and we touched on this in the last segment, but just more stunt casting.
Yeah.
If we're gonna,
We always say that. We told that to producers all the time.
You just bring in a Vin Diesel for a day.
Yeah.
Bill Murray's a great day rate guy.
And if you bring him in, he has to play himself, and it should be like, what WTF?
Yeah.
Why is Bill Murray here?
Bill Murray's serving drinks at Ryan Gosling's new jazz bar.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That type of thing. Those are the things. Like I said, with maybe reuniting Destiny's Child as the roommates.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, I think. And again, when I get what you're saying, either we cut the scenes where they're making a movie within the movie, or we just explain it better. Mm-hmm. And I think that would have been a great way to bring in Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
James Cameron is making a movie.
Yeah.
Plus, James Cameron makes some of the biggest billion-dollar franchises there are. Put him in the movie. Put him in front of the camera.
You're almost guaranteed to hit a bill at that point. Okay, so let's actually crunch the numbers here. This is a segment we have called
Number Crunch.
So, again, we're trying to hit $1 billion. This movie, La La Land, made $448.9 million. That means that the money on the table that they need to make is $551,100,000.
So we have to go more than 2 times. Oh boy.
So how can we do it? I have some ideas. I think you maybe have some ideas. How can we hit a bill?
Well, I mean, first of all, I was checking the worldwides here. Internationally, it did do well.
Yeah.
Except for in South America. Mm. And so one of the things, and we had talked about this earlier, but the movie did gangbusters in Japan.
Yeah.
Think about how much better it would have done if you throw in a konnichiwa. Maybe Ryan Gosling calls everybody hombre, or Cheech Marin comes in. Again, if we're talking about...
What if he had a chihuahua?
Yeah. If we're talking about stunt casting, Chow Yun-Fat, plays somebody in the jazz band. We just bring in some people with Gerard Depardieu. Bring in some international appeal.
Now,
do a Fast and the Furious type
exactly.
thing.
Now, I was leaning towards hip hop, but if it has to be jazz, I'm not super well versed in it, but I do know there is such a thing as Latin jazz. Why can't you have Chick Corea or somebody?
Samba. Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's a lot we could hit here.
I'm not even kidding you. Every continent, outside of Antarctica, of course, every continent had at least one country that hit $30 million with this title, right?
Yeah.
Except for South America.
The whole of South America.
Not even Brazil could hit $30 million.
Wow.
So we bring that up.
Yeah. There's...
we have them do some capoeira. We do something that Brazilians will get. You know, that's the thing. It's just about pattern recognition. You just want to...
You have to know. It's not hard if you know that it probably didn't even come up, but that it should come up. That's our issue.
You have to just take something from all your biggest earners, and I think you weighed it, honestly.
Yeah.
You want to gross more than it made $30 million in China. You want to gross way more than $30 million in China. Yeah. So I say you have a whole Chinese sequence, or they go to Chinese food, and then. And one of the things that, again, we look to Kevin Feige in the Marvel world, You film a couple extra scenes.
You just got me thinking, man.
It costs no money at all to film a couple extra scenes where they go to China and play the music.
So here, you just got me thinking. Wheels are turning. Number one, very few movies are even allowed in China. So the fact that they were allowed to play in China, if you're not going to make $100 million there, don't even bother going there.
Right.
So it's pretty easy. You're in China. You're playing music. Why can't one of the songs he plays be kung fu fighting?
You know, it's a question that we all have to ask.
Yeah,
it's a question.
He could have
that
just
we
played it
all-
on his piano, do like a jazzed up.
Yeah, and
version
then a
of it.
rap, and then bring a rap breakdown in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly. One of my money-making ideas, and I loved your idea of bringing in Starbucks as the coffee shop. That's genius. So Ryan Gosling's whole arc in the story is he is trying to open up his own jazz club. That is a missed opportunity. Think about the fact that in the Blues Brothers movie, they're opening a blues club, which in real life became the House of Blues, which is a real-life venue that makes tons of money every year.
Yes.
So why don't you make, the name of the club is Sebs, why don't you make real Sebs? Why don't you make real jazz clubs
Every
or
city.
hip-hop or whatever? You release them in every city.
Top 25 markets, you have a Sebs.
Yeah.
I
Bar and
love
grill,
this idea.
fried food,
Yeah.
fast casual.
Fast casual. Some, every city's got aspiring musicians. You pay pennies on the dollar to these guys. Get them
the
up on stage.
Exposure. You just pay them with
Yes.
exposure.
Oh my God. Sell commemorative cups. Sell commemorative. Merchandising wise, David, I always watch these movies with an eye towards merchandising. What jumps out at you with this, like keyboard ties?
Yeah.
Maybe a line of men's keyboard ties.
Yeah.
This was a tough one because for me there weren't as many merchandising opportunities that just seemed like, oh, the lights
That
are
are
bright.
totally obvious.
Yeah, totally obvious.
Again, just to go to this club idea, because, okay, say it's too much of an investment. You don't want to start a whole new chain of clubs. It's maybe too risky. Okay, then why don't we make it so instead of him trying to open up his own jazz club, why don't we pick an existing place and have it so that he's trying to open up, say, a Hard Rock Cafe franchise? Or you could just have him opening up his own House of Blues as his dream. That way, you can tie in other movie characters, and you can have the Blues Brothers, Jake and Elwood, make a cameo.
Yes.
And they can all do a song.
Yes.
Blues, jazz, basically the
Right.
same.
Then you bring in the Blues Brothers. You bring in James Belushi.
Yeah.
You got Belushi. He's an entrepreneur. You brand your own Sebs, Kush. There's huge money to be made in the marijuana industry these days.
Yeah.
My eyes are opening up here.
Ooh.
Then you have, we brought in Starbucks already. You have, Mia has her own brand of, there's a specialty drink that they introduced, like a boba tea or
They
something.
call it the Mia.
And they call it the Mia. Starbucks sells that. I'm liking this, David. And one of the things that I want to say too, if we stick with the jazz idea,
Yeah.
what's jazz known for? It's known for class. It's American.
Yeah.
It's one of the two American art forms.
Yeah.
So I say, maybe we don't have to nickel and dime our way to $1 billion on this one.
Yeah.
High end things. Sell baby grand pianos like that.
Why
Ryan
did they not
Gosling
do-
signs.
Oh, my God.
You're talking, if you're selling high ticket items, right?
Yeah.
Christie's items, Sotheby's items, maybe we're a lot closer than I originally
Now
thought.
you have me thinking, why don't you take actual jazz memorabilia? You get like a trumpet Miles Davis played, have Ryan Gosling sign it.
Boom. I love it. Pose with it, authenticate it, sign it. I love this idea. Absolutely.
Okay, one more. In terms of like marketing, in the movie, both Emma Stone, it takes place in La La Land, Car City, and both Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, the cars that they drive say a lot about their characters. I believe Emma Stone drives a Prius. They make some jokes about it. Ryan Gosling has his like vintage American convertible. Both missed opportunities. I'm sure Prius paid them a little bit. Why don't we, again, go for the high end, pick the most expensive cars, the coolest brand.
Maserati, Bugatti.
My thought, Tesla. So again, because we still want to have it say something about the character, so Emma Stone just drives a regular Tesla, but then Ryan drives the Tesla Cybertruck because he's a guy.
That's cool, and I love this, David. And you're always thinking the ancillary. Then you have Elon Musk tweeting to his millions of followers, this movie's cool. I like this movie. This movie is cool.
Have a minute. He can dance.
Yeah.
He can dance and do like walk like an Egyptian dance.
I love it. And then that way you have him as an advocate for the movie, hitting the Rogan crowd. I really think, because the movie really only made $151 million in the U.S.
Yeah.
I think if you boost those boy numbers, David, I really like where your head was at there. One of the things that is always an option on the table when we're trying to hit a bill, is do we spring this thing out elsewhere? I mean, are we going to spin it out? Do we have side movies? Are we going to franchise? I don't think the movie makes for a good franchise unless they get married at the end. We already talked about Jazz Babies, the TV show.
Genius.
But I'm thinking sometimes you can't. These are a lot of and they're merely suggestions. And sometimes you get a hard-hitting, Oscar-winning director like Dale Chazelle, and you have to compromise a little bit. So if we're not going to go that route, why not a review? Why not? Why don't we send it to off Broadway, have a whole review?
Good idea.
Runs for 6 years. Take it across the country. Macon, Georgia, Branson, Missouri. You can just set up shop there, basically.
That's a genius idea. Take the movie to the producers. That was a movie that was turned into a musical. Then that musical was turned into a movie.
Right. Then you remake La La Land as a musical.
Yeah. They should do that as a musical. Yeah. Okay, one more idea I had just in terms of being able to market, and this is just talking about international appeal. Everybody's speaking English, and it's always helpful to have like a character who maybe like the Minions where they just speak gibberish or something because it works everywhere. So I was thinking, and also something that could be sold to children. You can have it on T-shirts, something that's cuter. Doesn't really have any of that. I had an idea. So there's a part where they go to Griffith Park, as we said. What if at that park, Emma Stone looked into a telescope and saw like a CGI alien who could have become her friend, and then that alien could have, maybe helped her on auditions by sabotaging other actresses, by like abducting them, or could have used like brain manipulation to mess with casting directors so they hire her, and then you could add some humor because like only she sees the alien and
Like
Ryan
Gazoo.
Gosling. Yeah.
But I have to caution you, David.
Yeah.
Remember, people thought that the Great Gazoo kind of jumped the shark on Flintstones. So I love where your head is at. I really do. Maybe if we take it away from the alien and we just have a telekinetic coyote. But we have a cute one, a CGI coyote.
Good idea, yeah.
You can still sell the stuffed animals. He could still do all the brain manipulation, add a sci-fi element, but keep it grounded, which I think is what the director was looking for.
Yeah, I think Dale would be into that.
Yeah. So so maybe a coyote.
Yeah.
Or maybe she look.
Coyotes are a little scary. What if like a penguin or something? They're cuter.
A lost penguin.
Yeah.
A lost penguin in Griffith Park, or maybe just she looks up through the telescope at Griffith Park and sees her guiding star, and it's an anthropomorphic star.
You got it. Yeah. And then she talks to it sometimes.
Yeah, and she talks to it, and she sings,
"Hey, Starry,
up in the stars." You know, that type of thing.
Okay. We got it. We got it.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any more for the number crunch? I think we hit a bill just by what you're saying.
I mean, if we run the recap here, we were already at 400, 40, nearly 500, let's say.
Yeah.
We add in franchise restaurants. We add in all these ancillary, subsidized branding opportunities. David, I was leery that we're going to hit $1 billion until you came up with that last idea. Bringing in something that sells to kids, I think, really put us over the edge. So I'm comfortable saying we just hit a bill.
Okay, we're going to do one more we're going to do two more segments.
Bonus features.
So in the movie, towards the end, Sebastian finally has his jazz club, and he, this is when Emma Stone has left. She has her career as an actress. She's come back, and she notices that Sebastian actually used her idea and took the name that was her idea to name the club. So I kind of want to do the scene where I'm going to play Emma Stone, you're going to play Ryan Gosling.
Sure.
And I've just come back from Paris, and I see you for the first time, and I see that you got your own jazz club.
Great.
And you're playing piano.
Okay. Diddly-diddly-doo.
Hi, Sebastian. I'm back from Paris, where I had to go to have a successful movie career. You can't really do that in Los Angeles. You have to go to Paris.
Mia, my love, thank you for coming to the opening night of my club and supporting me this way. I'm so desperately in love with you that I didn't spend any time with any other women in pursuit of my jazz club, which took up most of my time. I also held faithful to you while you were in Paris.
Just as I expected. I just wanted to say I found it so truly romantic that you used the name that I came up with for your jazz club. However, I have to let you know that that was my intellectual property, and I will be taking you to court to either have full ownership of your club or a significant portion of the intellectual property rights.
If we're going to court, how about we do it a little differently? Sebastian gets down on one knee. How about we go to court and we hitch...
We get married?
We get married!
Yay!
And that way we both own the IP and we can be in love. And
then we together can sell the IP to places in real life that you, the viewer, can go visit.
absolutely. And then, unburdened by having to singularly run this club, I can come with you to Paris where people actually like jazz.
Yay! Finally, this is just the last part where we ask ourselves,
Pick it or nix it.
is it worth saving? Do you think it would be easy enough to hit a bill with this, or would it be just too much work and we say scrap the whole thing? What do you think?
Well, I think it goes back to Dale, as he
Chazelle,
likes to be called, Chazelle.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to his participation, really. I think there is there. We're already at half bill. People seem to like it. It had critical notice. It nearly won Best Picture. Technically, it won Best Picture for a moment or two.
Mm-hmm. You can tout that.
You can put that on. You can put that on all the video
promotional
sales,
materials. Yeah.
promotional materials. I think it just goes back to what we can get the director to pay attention to, basically.
Yeah.
If he's a guy who's into the collaborative part of filmmaking, I think it's worth. I really do, and I think there is a life in high-end luxury, commodities that can be sold. I think there is a lot of life here if we can just get him on board.
Yeah, and that's something we always said during our meetings, is that people say writers and directors and actors make movies, and that's not true. Studios make movies. That's who makes movies. And so either you get on board with what the studio wants to do, or you're in the way of making that bill. And yeah, you're right. And to be honest, before we even started, I kind of thought, jazz, musicals, these are two very specifically American forms. I wasn't sure if we could hit $1 billion. I don't know if it has that sort of international appeal, but once you and I got talking and started spitballing, per usual, I realized easily we could hit $1 billion.
Absolutely, David. And I think that's a really, to spin out of that point, I think there was a lot of money left on the table in the U.S. anyhow.
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier, but it was only $150 million in the U.S.
Yeah.
These are U.S. art forms. If we're going to stick with jazz, we're going to stick with the musical, we got to put a little more effort into, maybe even just do a different city. People don't really like L.A.
Yeah. It doesn't, it's an industry city. You need to switch it up.
Yeah. On that note, I do think there is an opportunity.
Des Moines, maybe. That's an up and coming. Kansas City.
I actually recently read that Boise is one of the hottest up and coming cities.
Yeah. Tempe, Arizona. A lot of people are moving to Arizona.
Yeah, big in the desert. So I do think it's worth saving. I really do.
Yeah.
On this one,
I'm with you. I think I've been sold by just us.
And brother, I got to tell you, it was intimidating to look at that. Two-prong multiplier. Yeah. The idea that we had to double.
Our work was made out for us. But, per usual, we did it.
But as per usual, and I'm really happy that we got to share a success on this very first ep.
Yeah.
Because it's only going to get better. You're only going to see more and more films succeed.
Yes. Now we're going to announce our next movie. We're still getting started, so I don't think this is how it's going to work quite yet. But once we're in the flow of things, the plan is If you join our Patreon, you can even watch the movie with us, and then we can, or you can watch it together. We can talk about it in our Discord. We can go back and forth in the week leading up to it, and we can all sort of, as a community, try and help these movies get the money they deserve.
These are tools that we have and that we're sharing with you. And so as we teach, we'll also be open. We'll be open.
We can learn.
We can learn. So if you have suggestions or ideas on how you think this movie, La La Land, could make $1 billion, or our next movie, tweet it at us. You can email us, and we'll read it in the next episode. We'll go through with corrections or continued suggestions on episode 2 for the previous time.
Definitely. And yeah, we'll get your feedback and see what ideas you had to hit $1 billion. I'm going to announce our next movie, which is also a very American movie, and this one needs a lot more help than the one we just covered, because I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the money that La La Land made, and it is the very new movie, Nomadland.
Nomadland. So if you have Hulu, you can watch it at hulu.com, or you can see it in theaters still. And I think maybe a little gold man named Oscar might do a little bit of the legwork for us pretty soon.
Yeah, that'll be a little bit, but I think we have to do more.
This will be our Build Back Better.
Okay, bye everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.
Now let the experts have their say. We know better than you just what you ought to do. If you want to make big bucks, it takes more than just luck. We know how to fix it, just how to remix it. So sit back and listen to what we are spitting. If you don't like it, so sue me. But gosh darn it,